Kalkadosh Boker Or, Masechet Shevuot Daf Yomi Daf Tet Amud Aleph 9A1. We were talking about when it says Achat Bashana Kapara Zo Lo Teheh Ela Pam Achat Bashana. What does that mean? That the Kavat Asira Pnimi is only going to be right mechaper on one tuma and not two tumot. So ask the Gemara Rabbi Ishmael, and according to Rabbi Ishmael, that he comes and he says, yeah. אין בידיעה בתחילה ויש בידיעה בסוף בר קורבן הוא, שעיר נעשה בחוץ המים מכופר. So he says, if you're going to tell me according to Shtat Rabbi Ishmael, that if you do not have ידיעה בתחילה ויש בסוף, that means you didn't know about it at the beginning, and you only found out at the end. זאת אומרת, בהתחלה לא ידעת כלום. אתה באת ואתה הלכת לבית המקדש, אתה אכלת קודשים, לא משנה מה זה היה. ופתאום, right, פתאום מה שקורה זה, שפתאום עכשיו אתה יודע מזה. שמישהו בא אליך, אומר, what's going on, what's going... So he says that he has to bring a korban, so therefore the Sayyid, which is going to be done on the outside, why is it going to come in chaper? So he says, al she'en ba yediyah lo betchila velo besof. According to Shtat Rabbi Ishmael, the Sayyid, which is going to be the outside Sayyid, is going to come and is going to be mechaper on what? She'en ba yediyah lo betchila velo besof. You didn't know anything about it. So since you didn't know anything about it, that's when you're going to come and have the yediyah. So says the Gemara, Hai Sireh Regalim, right? To Sireh Rashi Chodashim Mechaperim. This is going to be the Sireh Regalim and the Sireh Rashi Chodashim. You remember we went and we had an entire chart, and we went and we said there's a few different things. We had Seir Pnimi, we had a Seir Mibachutz, we had the Seir of the Regalim. Regalim is Shalosh Regalim, and then we had the Seir of Rashi Chodashim. Yeah, and then each one is going to be mechaper for something else, right? You're right that the Sira La Azazel is also mechaper, but nothing to do with what we're talking about. It's another story, right? Another Vaydaber. So he comes and he says, I thought that that's what the Sira Regalim and Sira Rashi Chodashim are mechaperim on that. So you don't need the Seir on the outside of the, right, the Sira Chitzon, right, which is basically the Sira Musaf of Kippur. So answers the Gemara. He holds like Rabbi Meir. He holds like Rabbi Meir. If you remember, if you go back to the original chart, according to Shtat Rabbi Meir, all of them atone for the same thing. Al Tumah Mikdash veKadashav, right? On Tumah Mikdash veKadashav. So if you actually take the chart, right, this is going to be the chart on Bet Amud Bet. Yeah, towards the bottom of the Gemara. You have it in the art scrolls. Right? Bet Amud Bet, right? Bet Amud Bet Stein. So if you guys look over there, there's Rabbi Meir, which is the last one on the chart. And the last one on the chart, right? You have it there. 2B. Yeah? The last one on the chart, Rabbi Meir, right? They're all the same. Look at the Sira Musaf, look at the Sira Musaf Regalim, and look at the Sira Musaf Rosh Chodesh. Because remember, it's always a Musaf, right? Right? So he says, right? All of them are the same. All of them are the same. Okay? Fine. Which one? Yes, the Pnimi is special. Right, Mamash, it's within the Hechal. That's special. But other than that, all the other Musafim are the same. Yeah? Because the Sira Pnimi is not even a Musaf. It's a different Korban Bechal. The Sira Musaf of Kippur is the Chitzoni. Yeah? So Sira Pnimi is a special deal. Okay, fine. So says the Gemara, Savalak Rabbi Meir, that we said the what? This is all going to be the same. Ela, but rather, Lema Hilchata. So what do I need? Itkash Chitzoni Lepnimi. So he says, right, you have the Chitzoni, which is going to be like the Pnimi. So he comes and he says like this. He says, right, Ma Pnimi eno mechaper b'shar averot. Av Chitzoni mechaper Rabbi Shar Averot. So he says, 1 second. If from now the Pnimi is not going to be mechaper on other Averot, only on Tumah Mikdash veKadashav, so too it should be the same thing. The Chitzon should not be mechaper on other Averot, except for the Tumah and Kodashav. Okay? So therefore, that's how they learn it. They learn that Hekesh. Okay? Fine. 2 dots. Yeah? Yeah, we're in the middle of Daf Yomi, yeah? 2 dots. Al en ba yediyah lo betchila velo besof. Sireh regalim u'sireh chodashim mechaprim divrei Rabbi Yehuda. You had Rabbi Yehuda. If you go back to the chart, again, we're always going back to this chart. Go back to the chart in 2B. Yeah, he comes and he says, you have Rabbi Yehuda. So Rabbi Yehuda comes and he says, right, that on en bayediyah, lo b'tchila v'lo b'sof. Yeah, that's the en bayediyah b'tchila en bayediyah lo b'tchila v'lo b'sof. You have the regalim and the Roshei Chodashim, the last two in the chart. Okay, so he says, Amar Rabbi Yehuda Shmuel. It says Rabbi Yehuda named Shmuel. My Tamad Rabbi Yehuda. What's the reasoning of Yehuda? So basically, what's happening is we're saying that the Sirei Regalim and Sirei Roshei Chodashim is a b'diuk otodova. Selamim shos. Yeah, that's Shitat Rabbi Yehuda. Okay, it's going to be atoning for the same thing. So says the Gemara. Yeah, what is the reasoning of Rabbi Yehuda? Amar Kra, it says in the pasuk, "Usiri zim echal lechatat laHashem." When it says laHashem, it's extra. So he says, "Chet she'en makir bo ela Hashem." A chet that nobody knows other than Hashem, right? Yes, Sayyid zeh mechaper. This Sayyid should be mechaper. Meaning, what does it mean? En bayediyah lo betchila v'lo b'sof. Lo yadata mizeh. Right? You didn't know about it. En bayediyah, you don't have yediyah. Lo betchila, not at the beginning. Meaning you never know you became tameh. V'lo b'sof, and not at the end. Meaning you didn't even know. You're clueless. You have no idea what's going on. Yeah? So in such a case, that's why we said that the seed of the regalim and the seed of Rosh Chodesh mechaper. Why? It's LaHashem. The sin was only to Hashem. Because I don't know about it. I have no clue. You're going to ask me, did you go to the Beit HaMikdash? Yeah, of course. Did you become Tameh? No. Right? Did you find out you were Beit? No idea. You have no clue what's going on. Yeah? So he says like this. He says, but I thought that he needed it, the LaHashem, for Resh Lakish. Why? The Amar Resh Lakish, because says Resh Lakish, Man ishtana. Yeah, we're coming close to Pesach Sheni. Yeah, remember, this is Shabbat stuff. Yeah, Pesach Sheni is Sunday night. Huh? Of course, whenever you want to have matzot. Yeah? Yeah, it's nice to eat matzot, for sure.
When?
No, Sunday night.
Sunday night?
Yeah. Dimanche soir, lundi, lundi. Yeah? Pesach Sheni. No. Dimanche soir et lundi. Monday. Sunday night, Monday. Yeah? So that's going to be Pesach Sheni. Yeah? So he says, right like this, he says, he needs it for Resh Lakish. Resh Lakish says, Man ishtana seid shel Rosh Chodesh shne'amar bo LaHashem. Why is it that the seed of Rosh Chodesh, it says LaHashem? Usiri zim echad chatat LaHashem. Yeah? So he says, why does it say, Usiri zim echad, right, lechatat LaHashem, lo tatmid ya'aseh v'nisko? Why does it say LaHashem? So he says, Amar HaKadosh Baruch Hu, says HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Sa'ir zeh yeh kapara alai. This Sa'ir should be a kapara for me. Yeah, why? Shemi'atti et yareach. That I went and I made the yareach smaller. So he comes and he says like this. He says HaKadosh Baruch Hu, this Sa'ir is going to be a kapara for me. Right? Here it says, the majority, of course. Right? Right? So he says over here, that's also the Girsah of a lot of the Rishonim. And Rabbi Ruchai and this and that. Fine. So he says, Al Shemiat Tiyat Yareach. In Ken, if so, Leimakra, what doesn't it say? Lechatat al Hashem. What does it mean? Chatat la Hashem. So he says, Lechdamran. Just like we said that the kapara is a kapara for an avera which is not known only to Hashem. So it's not al Hashem, it's to Hashem. So says the Gemara, Ve'ima kule le'ach yudata. Why don't I say that the entire pasuk is a drasha? So he says, if so, why does it say, right? Neimakra, the pasuk should have said chatat Hashem. Why does it say chatat la Hashem? So he comes and he says, Shema mina tarte. We could learn both. Right? What does it mean both? Meaning the fact that the Torah is going to come and is going to teach you two different halachot. What are the two different halachot? Halacha number one, right? That it's going to be like the Shita of Rabbi Yehuda, that it's only a chatat for Hashem, meaning for the averot which are known to Hashem, meaning lo ya yediah lo b'tchila velo b'sof. And that was Rabbi Yehuda. And number two, like the Shakish. What is a Shakish? That it's a chatat for Hashem because he was mema'et the yareach. Okay? Okay. Unechaper nami afilu b'shar averot. So ask the Gemara, why is it not going to be mechaper on other averot as well? So answers the Gemara, Tana Rabbi Ishmael, we learned in the academy of Rabbi Ishmael, hoil veze ba bizman kavua, right? Veze ba bizman kavua. He says, since each one is coming in a zman kavua, meaning the seed of Chitzon Yom Kippurim is coming in a zman kavua, right? And the seed of Rosh Chodesh is also on a zman kavua, right? So therefore they're doming to each other. So therefore we're going to learn from Binyanav. Just like the seed of Chitzon is not going to be mechaper al tumat mikdash vekodoshav, so too the seed of Yom Kippurim is mechaper al tumat mikdash vekodoshav. So says the Gemara, Ashkechan sireh Rashi Chodashim. That is going to be the seed of Rashi Chodashim. What about the sireh regalim? Meaning we are comparing sireh, right, Rashi Chodashim to sireh Rashi Chodashim to the seed hachitzon. What about seed of the regalim? Right? One more time. We are comparing seed regalim. Yeah? So says the Gemara, we found sireh Rashi Chodashim. What about sireh regalim in Alan? Bechitim, now you're going to tell me, Anami, this also. We could ask a question, Im Rosh Chodesh sheken tadir, right? B'yom Kippurim shekem ruba kaparato. Right? He says, 1 second. The one of Rosh Chodesh is Tadir. Why is it Tadir? How many Rosh Chodesh do you have? 12. Yeah, 12. Duz, right? Okay, Shlosh if it's a leap year. But usually it's 12. Yeah? So that's going to be much more Tadir than Sireh Regalim. But you still bring it though. We don't mention it. We don't mention it, but you still bring it. By the way, on Rosh Hashanah, when you say Musefeh, right? So when you say Musefeh, you have to have in mind also the one of Rosh Chodesh. Yeah. Right? So what happens is that the only thing is it's pakese, it's just hidden. Right? But you have to have that in mind. Right? So he says, Yom Kippurim, Merubeh Kaparato. Right? It's going to be mechaper on all the avirot. The Chitim, and if you're going to tell me, Teta Mubet, 9b. If you're going to tell me a Gamrina, we learn it Rosh Chodesh from Yom Kippurim, right? We're learning Rosh Chodesh from Yom Kippur. Velo parachinan, and we're not going to ask Hatam kapara michtav ktiva. Over there by the seed of Rosh Chodesh, it's mefurash written the kapara, but it says Chatat Lashem, right? But he says, right, and therefore it's obviously coming and telling the things that you just don't know. So according to this, the binyan of seed Yom Kippurim is not coming to come and teach you the koch of the kapara of seed of Rosh Chodesh. The opposite. So he says giluya minta be'almahu. This is a gilui minta. That means that there's no seed of Rosh Chodesh not mechaper only in Tumah Mikdash v'Kodeshav and not another avirot. So ever since the binyan of is not coming only lema'et the koch of the kapara, you can ask mal Yom Kippurim shekem ruba be'kaparato. Aval hacha, but over here by sireh regalim ika lememar kula minta lo gamrina. I could say that you can't learn the entire Inyan of Kapara from the theme of Yom Kippurim. Because Yom Kippurim, Kaparatom Ruba. So says the Gemara, Ela Kedama Rabbi Chaman Rabbi Chanina, but rather it's like Rabbi Chaman Rabbi Chanina. But he says, Seir Chatat Echad, and then another place it says, Usir Chatat Echad. Why did it add the letter Vav? The letter Vav is Lehosif Al Inyan Rishon. So therefore it's going to be Mechaber Makish, the Seir Chatat, right? Each one of the things. So he says, Acharami, so to hear, Seir, Usir, the Itkash, Seir Regalim, Seir Rashi Chodashim. Ma Seir Rashi Chodashim, Mechaprim, Ella al Shem Ba'Yediah Lo Tichal V'Sof, Av Seir Regalim, and Mechaprim Lo al Yediah, V'Lo B'Tchila, V'Lo B'Sof, which means the Vav is Mechaber. It's, remember, that's called Vav HaChibur. Vav HaChibur means that I'm coming and I'm combining. Even in English, when you say and, it's a conjunction which comes and it joins together two parts of a phrase or two parts of a sentence. Right? When I come and say and this and this. Exactly. So it's combining. So the Ve'ele Mishpatim is combining Parasha Mishpatim to the Parasha right before. And why? Because then we start learning. What is it combining? What are we doing? So the same thing. The Vav is combining it just like, right, Sireh Shechodashim. It's going to come, so too, Sireh Regalim, which is Sireh Moadim, is going to come and is also going to be mechaper on lo yediah, lo batchila, velo basof. Says the Gemara, we're going to ask the following question. Ki amar Rabbi Yehuda, when Rabbi Yehuda comes and he says, al she'em ba'yediah lo b'tchila v'lo sof, remember, what does that mean? Em ba'yediah means you didn't know about it, not at the beginning, and you didn't know about it at the end either. So you didn't know about it. You're completely clueless, right? You come, you didn't know you became tameh. You come, you didn't, you know that you went into the Bet HaMikdash, but you didn't know you were tameh, and then you didn't know afterwards also. Right? You didn't know anything. So he says, right? He says, Hanemilu, when do we say that? Bechet she'en sofo livada. Only on a chet, right? That nobody's going to find out about it. Aval chet she'sofo livada. But what happens if it's a chet that you do know about it? Why? Somebody else will tell you. Meaning you didn't know that you became tameh, but somebody saw you, and they're going to come and they're going to tell you. So what? Afterwards, he's going to come. He's going to tell you. So it's going to come now. So kemish yesh yediah basof tami. So let's compare that there is a yediah basof, right? Yeah, for sure. No. You come and you tell the person. Yeah. So that you have to tell him, right? By the way, I saw that you just became tameh, whatever it is. So he says, and the seid which is done on the outside in Yom Kippurim is going to be mechaper. Or maybe even if it's going to be known at the end, right now you don't know about it. Meaning like this, I'm going to ask you a question. What happens if I saw that you became tameh? Technically speaking, I should come in and tell you, but I didn't tell you. Now the thing is, I still didn't tell you, and I left town. Now, I didn't realize that you were going to go to the Bet HaMikdash, or you were going to eat Kodesh. So what happens is I come back after a month, and all of a sudden you come and you start telling me, by the way, right, the last time I just went to the Bet HaMikdash, is that. And I'm like, hey, how did you just go to the Bet HaMikdash? You became tameh. So what? Mapito? What are you talking about? C'est pas possible. I became tameh. How's it possible? Yeah, of course. You went and you touched the sheret. You touched but you were in the same Oziel. Right? You were in the same Oziel as the dead body. Right? You became tameh. So now, what? Yeah. No, if you went to, which one? The mikveh doesn't help for a lot of tumot. For example, tumat met. If somebody has tumat met, mikveh doesn't help. You need paraduma, sprinkling of the paraduma, and 7 days. Afterwards, there's a mikveh. But the mikveh by itself does not help. That's why nowadays it doesn't help. I'm going to ask you a question. Can you go to the mikveh and then go harabait? No. Why? Because of this. Right? When you're tumat met, it doesn't help mikveh. You need paraduma. You take a paraduma, the red heifer, right? You have to burn it. You come, you take the ashes, I sprinkle it on the 3rd day, sprinkle it on the 7th day, and then you're going to become tahor. You go to the mikveh and then you're going to go. But if you don't have that, it doesn't help. So you can't go to harabait. Yeah? I almost went on harabait. Yeah? Yeah. Because we went through the Arab quarter once. I went with my cousin. And all of a sudden we were coming to a place. We were going Kilu to the Kotel. And all of a sudden a soldier stopped us. He was a soldier at the gate. He goes, where are you guys going? So we're going to the Kotel. He goes, no. This is harabait. It's not the Kotel.
You will never make it.
Yeah. So... yeah. באמת?
החייל לא היה שם באותו שנייה. ואנחנו מתחילים את המדרגות.
Yes? Okay. So there you go. Let me go up. Yeah. He stopped us right by the stairs, I think it was. They stopped us. Yeah, because again, we didn't know clue. We were going to the Kotel. Yeah, we're going to the Kotel.
I have a video.
So one more time, the question. Ibailehu. Ki amar Rabbi Yehuda, when Rabbi Yehuda comes and he says, Shem ba'yediah lo b'tchila lo sof. Hani, when do we say this? Bechet shed sof olivada, and a chet that you're never going to find out about it because nobody ever saw you and nobody knows about it. Aval chet shed sof olivada, but a chet that you do or will find out about it at the end. Kemi sheyesh lo yediah basof, that is compared like a yediah sheyesh basof, meaning that you do know about it at the end. So therefore, the seid, which is on the outside, right, is going, and Yom Kippur itself is going to be mechaper, right? But no, right? Or maybe Afilu chet shesofo livada, even a chet which is at the end, you will find out about it. Hashtamia chet shemomakir el Hashem kadiyomeh. Right now, you don't know about it, so therefore it is going to be mechaper. So Tashema, we're going to try to bring a proof. The Tanya was learned in a Braita. Al Shem b'yidia lo b'tichlev l'b'sof. V'chet she'en, right? He says v'chet shesofo livada. Teireh regalim sireh shechol mechaprim divrei Yehuda. So you see from here, from the fact that we come and we say that it's a chet she'en b'yidia b'tchila u'b'sof v'sofo livada. But at the end, you will find out about it. And here, what are we saying? Sireh regalim sireh shechol. They're mechaper. So therefore, it comes out that it's a chet lo yivada, and it's still going to be mechaper. So according to this, it comes out from the Gemara the exact opposite. That's en sirim ela mechaprim, right? He says only it's going to be she'en sofo livada, because if it's going to be sofo livada, it's a completely different halacha. So says the Gemara, Rabbi Shimon, or Rabbi Shimon comes and he says, sireh regalim mechaprim, aval lo sireh rosh chodeshim. Sireh regalim is mechaper, but not Rosh Chodesh, not the one of Rosh Chodesh. Okay, because it's a higher level, obviously.
Wait until Pesach.
Until Pesach or Shavuot or Sukkot, yes. Shalosh regalim.
And on the year, he never know.
Yeah, let's say he didn't know about it. Exactly.
So,
No, that's why. Then you're going to wait until Pesach. And then it's going to be mechaper. So Amar Rabbi Elazar, Amar Rabbi Shia, says Rabbi Elazar, name Rabbi Shia. My time at Rabbi Shimon, what's the reasoning of Rabbi Shimon? Amar, the Pasuk says, Ve'otan natan lachem laset et avon ha'edah. V'ayikra b'seid Rosh Chodesh k'tiv. Here, this Pasuk is talking about seed of Rosh Chodesh. And we're learning the Gzera Shava, avon. Right? So through the Gzera Shava, we're learning the Kapara of Rosh Chodesh from the tzitz. Ne'emar kan avon v'ne'emar avon. It says by both them avon. Ma lehalan, just like by the tzitz, it's going to be miratzeh avon on tumat guf, which is the Kohen Tameh Shakriv, meaning the Kohen Gadol. You remember that the Kohen Gadol, every single type of a clothing was mechaper. All the clothing of the Kohen Gadol was a kapara. So imagine you're wearing a clothing, and that clothing is a kapara for something. So the tzitz, right? Depends each one. So he says here the tzitz was going to be mechaper on a Kohen that is tameh, that is bringing a korban. That's a tzitz. Other things is for everybody, because it had to do with avodah zarah, gilui nirot, that. Here it's for a Kohen tameh sheikriv. So he says, but the avon of tumat basar, which is dam or chelev or basar or things like that. So he comes and he says, right, and the tzitz is going to be menatzeh lachshir et korban. Afkan, so to here the avon is going to be for tumat basar. Ma lehalan olin, afkan olin. Just like over there, it's going to make it that it's going to be a kosher, meaning it's going to be machshir korbanot meim that go up to the mizbeach. So too, it's going to be olin, which means avon ha'edah ktiv. It's written avon ha'edah, which means that the Sayyid is coming to be mechaper al avon anashim, and not on avon korbanot meim. Meaning, the tzitz was going to come and it's going to be mechaper on the korban. That a korban that was tameh, that went up to the mizbeach, it's going to be machshirota. It's going to make it kosher. That means even though it's tameh, it's going to make it kosher. But here it's saying the seed of Rosh Chodesh does not do that. It's only maybe going to be mechaper on anashim, on people, human beings, but not on korbanot meim. So says the Gemara, Michti, let us see. Migmar gmire madade. I thought that we learn it from each other. Meaning, if you learn the seed of Rosh Chodesh, right, to the tzitz, it should be the same. And the Rosh Chodesh adidei. So it's a Gzera Shava, we said. Avon avon. So he said you should learn, right, the seed of Rosh Chodesh onto itself in the tzitz. So nafkalecha. So where does it go then? The Nishbara tzitz. He says it comes out that if right now it's going to be broken, right, so therefore it's going to be miratzeh, then the seed of Rosh Chodesh instead of it. Meaning, if there's no tzitz, the seed of Rosh Chodesh is going to be miratzeh instead of the tzitz. So the pasuk says, avon echad hu noseh, ve'en noseh shtei avonot. Just like we said, chatat achat, that it's going to be mechaper on one and it's not going to be mechaper on two. So to avon is avon echad and not shnei avonot. Which means that there we're talking about the one of Rosh Chodesh, so it's only going to be mechaper on one thing. It cannot be mechaper on two things. So therefore, which is the one thing that it's going to be mechaper? Eating kochim tmeim, right, which is going to be a kapara for that. But it's not going to be menatzeh on avon kodashim, right, which was for the tzitz. And a chaper tzitz adidei, right, ve'al Rosh Chodesh. So he says, nafka mina letuma dira ben zelazeh. But 1 second, what about the tzitz? The tzitz should be mechaper, meaning like this. You remember we spoke about that. Why don't we just say that each one is atones for each other? So the tzitz should be atoned for the tzitz plus the Rosh Chodesh, the seed of Rosh Chodesh. And the Rosh Chodesh should be mechaper for the Rosh Chodesh and for the tzitz. Says the Gemara, no. The Rosh Chodesh, we said, since it says Avon, it's only one Avon. It cannot be two. But what about the tzitz? The tzitz should work for both. So he says, Nechaper hatzitz adidei Rosh Chodesh. And what's the nafkamina? What happens if he became tamei in between? So Amarkar, the pasuk says, Ve'ota, not nos, right? Ota nose Avon, ve'en acher nose Avon. Only the tzitz is the one which is going to be nose Avon, not anything else, not the seed of Rosh Chodesh. Ravashi says, Ktiva achat, it's written Avon ha'edah, and it's written, right, velo kodashim. So he says, and there it's written Avon kodashim. Kodashim velo ha'edah. Meaning, according to the Shakish, he wants to say that there's two different phrases mentioned by each one. One mentioned by the tzitz, and one mentioned by, which means separate both of them together separately. Which means that the seed of Rosh Chodesh is not like the tzitz, and the tzitz is not like the Rosh Chodesh. So Ashkechan seed of Rosh Chodeshim de mechapre alator shechalat tameh. So you're right. We found the seed of Rosh Chodesh, which is going to atone for somebody that's going to be taor that ate kochim tmeim. How do we know that Sirei Regalim is going to be mechaper on Tumat Mikdash veKodashav and en ba'yediah lo b'tchila v'lo b'sof? Says the Gemara, Kedamar Rabbi Chaim Chanina Seir Usir. Hachanami Seir Usir. Meaning you remember the vav that connected. So the same thing. This extra vav which is going to be connecting is telling you that just like the seed of Rosh Chodesh is going to be mechaper on Tumat Mikdash veKodashav Keshe'en ba'yediah lo b'tchila v'lo b'sof. Meaning that you didn't know about it not at the beginning, not at the end. So to the B'diuk Tovar, it's going to be mechaper on a case where en ba'yediah lo b'tchila v'lo b'sof. And then there's going to be a hekesh between Seir Regalim and Seir Rashi Chodeshim. Here we have a chart b'li neder that we'll try to do B'ezrat Hashem on Sunday, that we'll go through the chart very quickly to see again how everything is going to be written over